Welcome to the Just Be a Man podcast. Please note, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Each individual is providing their own independent opinion. Follow, like, subscribe, and comment at Just Be a Man 2020 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. Also, expect new content every Wednesday on Spreaker.com or your favorite podcast app.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Be a Man podcast. It's your boy Mike T, and I'm here with the crew: Charles, Stefan, Wayne, and our buddy
What
Chuck
up?
is on a family hiatus right now, and we'll send our prayers out to him. Hopefully, everything's all right. He'll get back to us. Tonight's topic will be 2020, the first 6 months, and I'm going to segue into what I see as an increase in my house. I don't know about everybody else's, but social media addiction. It seems like the wife, the kids, everybody's on social media. Somebody's on the couch. Somebody's laying on their bed. Nobody's interacting. It seems like everybody's looking to get their information and their social interaction from social media, which tends to be kind of hard because, as you all know from the podcast, I'm a talker, I'm a joker. And when nobody's listening to my jokes and nobody's talking to me, I get very upset and I start looking for attention. And that's the last thing my wife's looking for. You know what I mean? Because she got a special broom for me. She called us the
Right.
mic broom. She sweeps me away every time I try to sweep over to that side, if y'all know what I mean. Wink, wink. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
so in regards to social media addiction, fellas, what do you guys think is the most prevalent that stands out to you? This question goes out to anybody.
Hey, I'll jump in real quick. So, I'm not real big on social media, but the whole internet use of the internet is huge, right? Because they're trying to get information on a lot of different things, and they can't really get outside and mingle. I know a lot of people didn't do that anyway, but now it's all about social media. That's how people are talking to each other. I would include something like I'd include like Zoom as social media, right? Because people are congregating this way now because they can't really do it the other way. And so Zoom is taking off. All those type of meeting apps are really going crazy. So, it's a sign of the time, right? If you're talking about work or whatever, you got to do your interview over a Zoom or some sort of thing like that. So this is how we're going to rock out going forward. I think that's just me.
I think you're on point, man. Because let me tell you, we're June 4th right now, and we're right smack in the middle of this coronavirus, and that's what's happening, man. Everybody's bored. Folks are still trying to, do the social thing. Hell, when you look at social media, you have club quarantine. You have a guy, this DJ Nice. I mean, he's doing this thing almost every other night.
You're right.
Yes, sir. He's doing the daggone thing, man. So folks are online. They're trying to get the social on, interact with one another. Unfortunately, it may be interfering a little bit with family time, but I think that's what it is, man. Folks are just bored and they're itching at any way that they could interact with one another. I think that's what's going on.
That's true.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, Steph, you were talking about the versus stuff, like the different, head to head, like that.
Right. Yeah. I think social media is a great escape. It's an escape out of your dwelling because you really can't go outside besides going to the grocery store and maybe walking the dog. So it's that escape. But you got to be real careful with social media because you'll end up losing an entire day looking at something on Facebook or looking at something on Instagram, and you got to charge your phone.
Don't talk about me.
You lose an entire day, surfing the web. And I think one of the greatest things that with some social media, I'm not social media clubs, but some broadcasters like Xfinity and Comcast, they've got a way that you can actually turn off the social media in the house, so everybody comes together.
Oh, yeah.
And I suggest that to parents every blue moon, just cut everybody's web off, to include yourself, and say, hey, come sit down, let's have dinner without watching TV, and let's just talk about life.
Right.
So I think my thoughts.
That's what's up.
And I know I get that. I get that part, but I think it's hard too we have the kids now. Everybody's kids, most of the kids, I think, throughout the United States, I'm not sure. I know in my state, in my town, the kids are on their laptops, and they're not only doing their schoolwork, they're emailing their teachers and different things like that.
Hmm.
And it seems like it's hard for them to transition off of that. I would be tired of being on social media all day. Even though it's not your phone, it's still a form of social media where you're doing your work, you're interacting with your teacher by email, whatever. And when they get off it, I would think that they want to do something else. But it seems like they're addicted to, okay, I'm off of this, let me go to something fun, but the fun stuff is on social media. So that gets a little tiring, and gets a little irritating, because I want them to at least go outside. We got a decent backyard. Go outside, get some fresh air. Like, my daughter goes outside, she actually does some soccer drills and stuff like that. But my son, he'll go outside and hang out with his buddy, but he really needs to, the days of going for a walk or riding a bike, for some reason I got to push that on him. And I think that that's my issue I have with social media. The addiction is it gets a hold on you if you let it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
it can absolutely, but you got to take a look at what's going on in the world right now. We're here talking about 2020, and so far, the first 5 6 months of the year has been literally off the chain, and a lot of these events have been captured via social media. You have situation, the George Floyd situation recently, where a number of cell phones captured what was going on with him and that interaction with the police. So you have multiple angles, you have multiple people, filming the thing. And, not just that, there are events around the world where things like this are taking place, and it could be extremely captivating. I mean, it's almost like you got to force yourself off of that stuff. I
Right,
know
right.
in my household, my wife, she shares that addiction, Mike, unfortunately. And I have to, like, literally sometimes pry the cell phone or the laptop out of her hands, because I'm like, look, enough already. Let's spend some
I
quality
get it.
time. Let's watch a movie. Let's do something.
Right, right.
But she gets so into, especially like the news stuff, man, that again, it could definitely turn into an addiction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so what Charles was saying, there's a lot of stuff that's happened, and I kind of, when we started talking about this category, I kind of, excuse me, about this topic, I kind of broke it down into some categories. And one of the things I just want to talk about is like sports. I mean, there's a bunch of things that happen in sports that everyone is aware of, but it's kind of crazy though. If you think about these things all in a row, it just sounds crazier and crazier. And so, since I'm missing sports, I just wanted to list a couple things that happened that people I don't know, might be interested in or might not be interested in. But obviously, I'm a big basketball fan as well as football. But in
When
basketball,
was the
you
last
had a
time the
season
Knicks won?
suspended.
When was the last time the Knicks won
All,
a championship?
all
I'm just
damn
checking.
I
time.
said basketball.
1960,
It was
No,
the 70s, first of
it was
all.
73.
But
Okay,
anyway,
my bad. 73. Go ahead.
it was the 70s. But you see, nobody know how to act in public. All right, so so the NBA season was postponed. Obviously, that's a big deal. The NCAA tournament was canceled.
Billions of
I
dollars.
mean,
Billions of
huge,
dollars.
huge,
Yes,
Billions.
huge.
sir. Yes,
Right.
hmm
sir.
Not a lot of us are fans of it, but hockey runs coincides with basketball. That was canceled. So I mean, these are major industries. I mean, we had the death of Kobe Bryant, as Charles mentioned. David Stern, former commissioner of the NBA, died.
hmm
Jerry Sloan died. Wes Unseld died. I mean, this is in the first 6 months. These are big things.
Yes,
I
they
mean, I think
Right.
are.
there was even, I'm not a big baseball fan, but there was even a scandal with the Houston Astros
Yep.
and
They
cheating.
were cheating. They were
I,
cheating.
so I'm just saying, there's a lot that's happened, and we only 6 months in, and I left out a bunch of stuff, but I just tried to, some of the things that were more pertinent to me.
Well,
Any thoughts on
yeah,
that?
the tie into social media and the damage social media can destruct a career. Drew Brees just screwed up with the
Big time.
Black
Yeah.
Lives
Big
Matter.
time.
Big time, and now he's trying to backpedal, and his former as well as current players are letting him have it. As
Right.
part of the
A-
danger of social media.
Now I can
As
wait.
they
So
should.
now listen, I'm supposed to be
It's
up on
crazy.
up on things. Now I saw some stuff with Stephen A. Smith. He was talking about some stuff. So what did he actually do?
Lord.
Explain that to me. What did Drew Brees do? Because I missed some of it.
Well, in
Bas-
a
Go ahead.
nutshell, yeah, I'll tackle it. In a nutshell, Drew Brees spoke on this whole situation involving George Floyd and the death, right? And everything that's been
Okay.
taking place as far as the protests and things of that nature. So people are bringing it back to Colin Kaepernick, who was taking a knee for this
Right.
very same reason. It was a
Right.
peaceful protest against the things that are taking place in the United States of
Police
America
brutality.
regarding police brutality.
Right.
Exactly. So Drew Brees was asked about it, and he just took to this whole flag defense thing. The fact that he didn't like people disrespecting the flag, talked about how both of his grandfathers served in the war, things of that
Yeah.
nature, and went completely off on a
Off
tangent,
topic. Yeah. Right.
regarding the disrespect of the flag, which has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. And it just
Okay.
shows how out of touch he is, how, he's still operating, within his privilege, and his teammates, even people from the NBA like LeBron, they literally took it to this guy. And rightfully so, man. I mean, he issued a public apology
Right.
24 hours after the fact.
I saw
But
that.
yeah, it's damage control, right?
Right.
Because it's equivalent to trying to put the toothpaste back into the tube. The damage has been done,
Right.
and as a result, man, I mean, he's going to be hearing about this for quite some time.
Okay.
Toothpaste in the tube.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was deep. Toothpaste in the tube.
That was deep, Charles.
Hey,
Because I love my toothpaste. It helps me out. But anyway, but I think that with a lot of this stuff going on, we talk about with the social media and different things that are going on right now. That transitions me to talk about, can people get burnt out with all this stuff going on? Do you think that with social media you can get burnt out by this? Because the reason why I'm asking is that the reason why I'm asking that question is because I was looking up some information and they're saying that actual job burnout that people talk about at work, they're saying they're burnt out. It's actually been classified and diagnosed, through the medical health organization as a actual diagnosis. And for me, I'm saying, can people not only get burnt out at the job, but do you think they can get burnt out from oversaturation of social media?
I'll tackle that one. Yes, they can definitely be burnt out. For example, my wife has been really affected by the George Floyd killing. And yesterday, she basically admitted that she had to take a break from social media because that's all that people are talking about, and it's easy to just scroll and see these tributes and plans for protests based on the killing that you can literally get burnt out. So yeah, yeah, social media can cause burnout, but job fatigue can cause burnout. I remember times where, back in the army, I was working crazy hours, and to the point where I suffered migraines, things of that nature, trying to accomplish this mission. And one guy said, "Hey, look, you know something? You're either going to die, retire, or get out of the army. But the army will keep going. Don't kill yourself while you're doing it." So yeah, burnout is real.
Okay. Okay. What do you think, Wayne?
Even if it's not social media or something like that, but just if you watch the news too much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, if you're watching the news every day, and this George Floyd thing is crazy, right? And it's just crazy. But if you just keep hitting yourself in the head with this 24 hours a day, that can't be good. That just
No.
can't be good, So yeah, I think you can definitely get burnt out. But again, it's dominating the news. So there's nothing. What else is there to watch? I mean, we just talked about sports.
HGTV. That's what I watch most of the time now. I'm
That's
ready.
my joint.
I'm ready.
Wait.
I'm ready to flip a house.
Listen. That's my
Yeah,
drink
I
right
hear
there.
you.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Flip my
Yeah,
yard. Flip my house. Flip everything. That's where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
What do you think, Charles?
To pretty much say what everybody else said. Yeah, I think it's a real thing, absolutely. But I think we at the same time need to control that. And if we feel like it's getting to be a little bit too much, then we need to change the channel. Go to HDTV, watch a movie, turn on some music, go for a walk, do those types of things. See, when we talk about burnout in the workplace, I look at it as less controllable because everybody needs their job. So 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, you're working, you're doing whatever you're doing. So you can't really control that particular aspect of it, but so much,
Right.
yes, you could take your breaks, you could take your lunch, make sure you
Right.
take your vacation. Maybe you can get some, psychological help if you feel like, things are getting to be a little bit too much. However, when it comes to things that are happening while we're at home, things that we have control over, then that's what we need to do. We need to control the controllable.
I
So,
get that. Yep.
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 So that's
Yep.
where I'm at with it.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say. So, what other things in 2020, within this first 6 months that we didn't cover that somebody might want to pinpoint?
So I got something I want to bring up, and it's not specifically a 2020 thing, but it's I think it's kind of come out a little bit more in 2020. It's kind of been a little bit more mainstream, and it has to do with the abduction and exploitation of young minority females. I think this is something that's been going on for a very, very long time, and I think that I don't want to say it's been swept under the rug, but it just hasn't gotten the attention that maybe it deserves. But you hear these stories, whether they're true or not, they're very possible, right? It's something that could really happen where, you're getting these little emails telling you, hey, let your daughters, let your wives, let your mothers know that if they see a van next to their car in a parking lot, don't go there.
No, it's real.
Do something differently. And so what I'm saying is, this is something that you really should be conscious of. And if it's been happening for as long as it has been, I'm just saying that in 2020, it just seems like maybe it just became clearer to me.
Right.
But I just wanted to put that out there and wanted to talk about it a little because it's serious, and we got to protect our young people. We got to protect all our females.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, we do.
Definitely. Trafficking is a big thing. We've dealt with it a lot in juvenile corrections, juvenile detention. A lot of the females and males that come in, but primarily females come in, and some of them have been trafficked, have been pimped by even teenagers, because some pimps think that teenagers will get off a letters of sentence if they teach them how to pimp. So a lot of these things happen out there. Like even with my daughter, when she goes for a walk to walk the dogs, I tell her to bring a cell phone to keep it on her, because that's the way my mind works. You understand? And I always walk with her. Every other dog walk, I walk with her to let people know that this is what they're going to be dealing with. And I wear this ugly shirt and whatever, combat boot, whatever I wear, I let them know she got a little crazy daddy that walks with her every now and then. So you better be on point when you do it. But trafficking is pretty big. And even not too far from here, the Berlin Turnpike in Connecticut was one of the biggest pipelines for trafficking, because you can go all the way up to Boston through Canada, all the way down to Florida. Because but the reason why the Berlin Turnpike was so popular at that point was there was tons of hotels. There was almost like 40 to 50 hotels. And nobody's asking questions when people show up and they want to lay down. All the people are looking for is the money. And unfortunately, they finally broke that open, and they started breaking down these hotels and these motels. And they found out a lot of those places were respite spots for them to rest, for to do business and to reload or even trade. People were trading, like bringing their Canada product down to the Berlin Turnpike, and people were bringing their Florida product, and they were switching up to do a little variety. So it was crazy. And they actually had a book that came out called The Berlin Turnpike. If you look it up, it talks about the trafficking that's been going on over the last 20 or so years.
So yeah, you guys know that I travel, by air quite a bit,
Right.
and so I've been noticing as I go around the country, I'm seeing more and more in the airports. There's signs for trafficking, making people aware of child trafficking, and so I was in Atlanta for quite a bit, and until recently, and that seems to be one of the major hubs.
Mhm.
And there's billboards. It's crazy, and so. As you know, my son travels from time to time to see me or with me or whatever, and so he doesn't have his own ID, driver's license, or anything like that. So when you get to TSA, they ask questions, because he doesn't have ID or anything. And they're like, "Who is this dude? Who is this man to you?"
Right.
Mhm.
And so if he says something crazy, I could get jammed up.
Let me ask you a question. What's up with school ID, bro? I thought all schools gave kids ID now for some type of identification. He doesn't have any.
He does, but I don't know that's not TSA approved.
Oh, school
It has to be
ID? No.
state issued.
So I'm
It has
saying
to be
if
state
your
issued.
name is the same last name as his, it doesn't work like that. Like if you show your ID and he shows his ID that you're his dad, no.
Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't help,
Right.
but he doesn't need an ID to get through.
No, I know,
But
no,
what
I know
I'm
that, but it
saying,
helps if they ask a question, to see his last name, your
yeah,
last
yeah,
name. That makes things
yeah.
to transition a little better.
Oh yeah, I mean, they have that leeway, right? If they don't feel comfortable about it or they don't see something that looks right,
Right.
they could pull us to the side.
Yo,
Okay.
but he's 16 now, right?
He's 17 now.
17. Well, shoot, you can get him a passport that lasts for 10 years, and plus it
He
gives you.
actually has
Go
he
ahead.
actually has a passport. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I think you might have yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now it'll last for 10 years, and hey, that gives you an excuse to fly out of the country.
Yeah. Hey, but you
Why
know
would I
what,
ever
Wayne?
do that?
You know what I was gonna say too? I know someone who their specialty is trafficking, where they help bring trafficking to light, and they also help girls with trafficking and help the younger girls prevent from being trafficking. So being trafficked. So I think in one of our podcasts, I'm gonna look into finding a young lady who I was thinking about, and I think she will be able to break it down a little more clearer to folks than what we're able to do. But it's
Perfect.
real because
I
she
think
worked.
that'd be great,
You know
Mike.
what? You said perfect, and guess what? That's what her name. That's what her title is. Perfect 146, and she's the one who helps the girls. Um, helps girls
I
who
knew
have
that.
been trafficked.
I knew that.
Oh, you did? Okay. She's
No,
the
I
one to help
didn't.
girls who have been trafficked, but she also helps talk. She talks with middle schoolers, young ladies, and young men because sometimes the young men get overlooked. They get trafficked also. A lot of people think it's just girls. They think of trafficking, they think of females, but there are some people out there who are actually doing males. I just think, for some reason, younger females are the focus.
Hmm.
Hey, I mean, I know this is a really heavy topic, and I think that we should have someone, an expert on here to talk about it because
I
I'd really
definitely,
like to
I
learn
definitely have
more.
somebody in mind that's an expert, and I think when they come on, I think we're going to be enlightened, but you're also going to be set back a little bit to be surprised how close trafficking can be in your area and without even knowing about
Let's
Yeah,
make that happen.
it. Okay, all
absolutely.
right, we can definitely do that.
So let me bring up something else
Yeah, yeah,
since we're talking about the first 6 months.
yeah.
I have a whole category just called Trump. So, so hey, think what you
Hit
want
me with it.
about him,
25.
Hit me
but
with
these
it.
are just this is just what we know. We know that this man has gone through the impeachment process. We know this man's been acquitted of impeachment, and this man is he has a lot to say about everything without a lot of facts. So this is just the first 6 months. We've been dealing with this for the last 3.5 years. So one thing that I've
Right.
been saying constantly in our podcast and on our drop the mics is we gotta get registered and we gotta vote. We have to make the decisions that make sense to us. I'm not saying
No
who to
doubt.
vote for and who not to, but we have to be a part of the process. We have to be in there making our voice heard. So anybody can take anything they want about this, the impeachment, the acquittal, anything they want, have at it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, locally, I think people are already starting to get at it. And what I mean by that is we had DC elections on Tuesday, and there were people out there well beyond curfew. And I think they were actually open until like 2 in the morning until the last person voted. That's how serious people are taking it. And DC is a federal district where they can't even vote for the president. Right, and you really don't have the representation for senators as well as representatives, but they're taking the process of voting extremely serious. And I think it's part of the fact that people are just tired of the current administration. They're tired of some of the legislators that are dinosaurs that are really holding us back. Um, I really believe that the Senate's going to flip soon. I think the House will stay the same, and I think we'll have a new president. Because people are tired. I mean, just sick and tired, and you can see it in the protests that are happening throughout the nation.
Yeah, one other thing I just want to mention with the whole voting thing, I've heard, and maybe I'm not as current as I should be, but in recent weeks I've heard some celebrities say or suggests that we should be withholding. We should be withholding our vote. And what I want to say to that is, I think that gets us nowhere. And this is just my opinion, just one person's opinion. But if you say, "Hey, I don't like this person, and I don't like that person," well, then, and you do nothing, you're kind of accepting what it is now.
Right.
So I mean, that's how I look at it. You can disagree with me, but so I just want to say that I know the celebrities have a lot of pull, way more pull than we have here. But I just wanted to say that, because if you say, you know what, I'll show them, I won't be a part of this process. I- who what are you really saying? What are you really doing?
Right.
What change are you affecting?
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I agree. That's great. What about you, Charles? What do you think?
Nah, I mean, I think Wayne is dead on, man. It infuriates me when I hear folks with influence suggest that people should withhold their vote. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just asinine. It truly is. And, everyone needs to exercise their right, good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't even matter who you vote for. Just make it a point to be a part of the process,
Right.
period. And let's let the chips fall where they may. Prayerfully, there's some positive change that are coming forward as a result of all the political and social unrest that we're witnessing today. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with status quo after the next election, excuse me. Hopefully that's not the case, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Okay. All right. Charles, I know I asked Wayne about the first 6 months of 2020 or whatever. What do you have that we didn't touch upon that you might want to bring to light?
I mean, well, the biggest elephant in the room is the coronavirus. We really haven't spoke about it directly. We're
The
talking about
dinosaur.
six
That's a
point.
dinosaur,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
That's a
Yes,
dinosaur.
yes, yes. 6.5 million cases worldwide, at least
Wow.
386,000 deaths. We're talking about more than 36 million people that are unemployed as a result of the coronavirus. So this thing, I mean, obviously is huge, man. We're talking about a global pandemic. We're talking
Right.
about all these folks dying. We're talking about, you know, these all these mixed messages that we're hearing from the White House. It's just been absolutely bananas.
Right.
I think there's going to be some good that comes out of this, but the fact that so many people have lost their lives as a result of this coronavirus it just boggles the mind, man. It's a scary situation. And what's even more scary now that we have all this protesting taking place, obviously there's no social distancing being exercised here, so we could be in for that second wave. Who
Right.
knows? So prayerfully that won't happen, man. But let's all just brace ourselves for what could possibly get worse.
Okay. Thank you for that, Charles. Wayne, you want to weigh in on it? Then I'll hit Steph up and see what's going on. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about it. Everyone, it's all been said. It's just a
Right.
scary thing. It's scary. And if you have people who are a little bit more elderly in your life, it becomes even scarier, right? So these young folks that get out there, and maybe none of them get affected in a negative way with
Right.
it, but as soon as you go see your grandmother, as soon as you go see your aunties, your mother, your father, you may have caused a problem.
Right. Well, I think it's going to hit home for us, and I say my crew here, because eventually I have to go back into an institution that had coronavirus over the last 3 to 4 weeks ago. It finally cleared up, and now we have somebody else at the job who was diagnosed with it, and now they're gone. So once they thought it was over with, so I'll be going back in the fray pretty soon, probably by the end of the month. So I think that's where it's really going to hit home for me. I have been out of the mix for a minute, and I've been doing what I was supposed to do here. I try to do my little exercise, whatever, but it's going to be definitely a testing point for me, my body, mind, and soul, to go in the building every day and make sure that I'm protected, and also to come home and to as they say, disrobe myself in a proper way and make sure that I don't bring anything into my house. So my garage is going to be get. I'll say I'm going to go downstairs and WD-40 my garage chain or whatever it is, because that's where I'll be coming in the house. That's where I'll be disrobing and then running straight upstairs to get into the shower or whatever the case may be, and trying to make sure that all the universal precautions are followed. And that may say I'm a little crazy, but that's what I have to do. What do you think, Steph?
Well, first of all, please make sure you have a bathrobe in the garage. We don't need you streaking through the house.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
No problems, Mike.
yeah,
Hey man,
exactly.
listen, I got a couple of olive branches, man. It'll fit.
But I mean, you're right, Mike. The coronavirus is still around. People are becoming a little more reckless when it comes to going out in public. I'm seeing less masks now than what I have seen. Um, Charles and I were recently on a golf course, and they're still doubling up people in golf carts. Now they do have a protective shield there, but that thing doesn't really do much. It was just it's just a matter of time before we have that second wave, and unfortunately, it may be much more deadlier than the first. And one thing that I really concerns me is underreporting. We've got a couple of Republican governors down south specifically that are doing anything and everything to underreport, saying listing death as pneumonia. Ain't that many people dying of pneumonia yearly in that fast? It's COVID.
Right.
Take the politics out. Let's talk real numbers so that
Hmm.
the next time we have a pandemic, we'll have the right solutions.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to chime in on that?
No, I want to say something that's not. I want to leave the corona alone
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
now.
Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
Yeah,
Take the
we
floor.
all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to I want to just say, I'm hearing from a lot of people, a lot of different things, whether it's on social media, emails, internet, wherever, where people are saying that 2020 is horrible. They can't wait for it to be over with. And I get it. I see why someone would think that or say that, because it's been really tough for people, especially if you lost someone or your money isn't quite right or things like that. But what I wanted to say from my perspective is that 2020 has been a good year for me. With all this nonsense that's going on, it's been an opportunity for me to do things a little bit differently than I did previous years. And so I'm very happy about that. I think I've been growing in a couple of different ways. I think I'm stretching out a little bit. And one of the other things is this whole podcast kind of thrived because of that, right? So I think the concept of this podcast came out just this went before it got so crazy, but because of the quarantining and the staying home, it allowed us to do what we're doing here today. And so I'm definitely thankful for this. I really think this is a really good voice for us. I'm hoping that the people that are hearing this are getting something out of it, because I think the group of us, we are. And so I just want to say, so I'm trying to make some lemonade out of those lemons, and say that, I'm comfortable with 2020. It could always be better, but it could always be
Right.
worse.
Right. Well, what do you think, Charles? What are your thoughts on that? What Wayne said.
Well, I think that's a very positive approach. Cup half full type of situation. And I agree with that. It's been a return to the simpler life. I've been spending a lot more time with my family, been getting more home cooked meals,
Mm.
working from home. We've had sort of a great purge type situation going on in my household where we've essentially removed all the clutter from the house from top to bottom. Obviously, the emergence of this podcast, as far as you guys being my close friends, I think we've gotten even closer as a result of the latest developments, and certainly as a result of this podcast. So I think there are a lot of cup half full, type situations that are going on out in the world. I think we as a people are displaying a lot of resiliency
Mm.
as a result of this. People are coming together, things of that nature. So I think there are a lot of positives that are going to come out of this. On the flip side of it, again, there are a lot of people out here hurting. There are a lot of people out here dying. We have, civil unrest taking place right now in major cities throughout the United States because there's a bunch of nonsense that continues to take place. So, even out of those ashes, I think something good is going to come out because people are finally getting to the point where they're just absolutely fed up with many of the things that are taking place in this country. So, I think we're, you know, cup half full, and I say we're moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Charles. That was awesome. I appreciate that, brother. So, Steph, are you half full? Are you half empty?
Well, I'm half empty when it comes to if Amazon rings my doorbell one more time, just one more time, and it's not a package for me, we're gonna have a problem. Because unfortunately, um, my wife likes Amazon, and she doesn't like to she doesn't like to get rid of anything. So that's been a challenge. But I'll tell you, 2020, it's kind of brought her and I together a lot more because she's been in the house and has taken over my computer. So we're together. I live in a middle class, predominantly African American neighborhood. And I sit out on the front porch. People are walking by saying hello. People are walking throughout the neighborhood. We drive through the neighborhood and we see people walking and having social distance chats. But I mean, they're not close up to each other. And I'll tell you, a year ago, that didn't happen here. People were going to the gym. People were doing other things besides walking the neighborhood. So really 2020 has kind of brought back those old school values of if I'm gonna get an exercise, if I don't do it in my home gym, at least let me get out and walk or let me get out and run or bike ride. And it's good. So 2020 has been half empty, half full for me.
Yeah, and I think that's good, right, Steph? Like, people, like you're saying, your neighbors, it's more friendly, right? Because people aren't on that hamster wheel running to their next thing.
Yes.
They have to slow down. They're forced to slow down, and that goes back to what Charles was talking about. You're forced to go back to a simpler time.
Right.
And hey, I think it's good to reset
Right.
from time to time.
Right. And I would say for me, I would say the glass will be half full because during this time, I'm able to. I think I've put myself to the test as far as being able to stay motivated in the morning, being able to get up, actually do some form of exercise to try to stay structured because I can easily get off the topic. I can easily get off the structure, and just being able to have something like this where it's testing me and testing my ability to stay focused. I think it's changed me a whole lot. Where I'm learning new things, I'm doing new things. Like I said, I'm spending more time with people who I care about, who I haven't seen or talked to. It seems like we do it periodically. Now we do it almost every day, and I think that there's some positive, there's some negatives, but I think my positives outweigh the negatives in regards to 2020. Okay, well, what I would do, I would start off with my brother Wayne, and we have a segment we call "Drop the Mic," where we just freestyle and we talk about whatever's on the top of the dome. And I'm going to transition to my brother Wayne. Drop the mic.
All right, hey, my drop the mic is so people might not like this one too much, but I think that we should change some legislation around the country so that every time your driver's license expires, you have to take a written test and a road test again. I think there's some non-driving people out here, and they do not know what they're doing. Mike is laughing because he knows that I'm always complaining about this because of this situation. I've been riding my bike a lot, and on the weekends I try to get out early, ride the bike on the side of the road. They do not know what they're doing. There could be 3 lanes there, and they are riding right next to me. So I'm just because you passed your driver's license when you were 16, that don't mean you know how to drive. So my drop the mic is pass legislation. Every time you go to renew your driver's license, you got to take a written and a road test.
Especially if you wear glasses too, right?
Everybody,
So you
damn
can
it.
see.
But
So
you
you
know
can see.
something. But you know something, Wayne. I think part of that is because people are driving with the damn cell phones in their hands. Believe me, I see it all the time as I sit on my front porch in my predominantly middle class black neighborhood, and they're just driving right on by.
Right.
Then they should fail their road test then.
I agree. If I could issue citations, I'd be out there.
Listen,
I want 50% of the population to lose their license, is what I'm saying.
Hey, sooner or later, sooner or later it's gonna happen. Steph, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna transition to you as far as drop the mic. Drop the mic on us,
All right,
brother.
all right, here's mine. And matter of fact, I'm gonna have to stand up on this one. I never thought that I would see the day where Taylor Swift was more woke, WOKE, than Kanye West.
Wow.
Taylor Swift went smooth off on everybody with this George Floyd issue, and said, it's time for a change. Now, understand this: Taylor Swift is huge in the pop and country music culture. So, therefore, this is a white, fragile woman saying enough is enough. We need to change things. I haven't heard peep from Kanye West, Mister Taylor Swift doesn't deserve this award. I haven't heard anything from him. I haven't heard anything from the family that he married into.
Kanye,
So therefore,
they need to step up.
right? Well, absolutely. Therefore, Taylor Swift is more woke than Kanye West. Drop the mic.
Okay, Charlie Rock. I'm
Damn.
gonna do a layup with the mic to you. You available?
I am available, sir. My drop the mic is: was it me or was it Morris Chestnut? Last year, around this time, brother, last year, my wife and I went on a vacation of a lifetime, right? We went over to Paris, France, and then we went to Athens, Greece, and Santorini.
Okay.
Just had the time of our lives, right? But on our way,
Balling.
all our way to Paris, France, we were in the airport lounge in New York, and we ran into Morris Chestnut.
You minding your own business, weren't you, Charles?
Minding my own business, bro. So we're sitting there, we're chilling, running to Morris Chestnut, and my wife's all excited. She asked to take a picture with them, right? So I'm like, yeah, no big deal. It's all good. I take the picture. We have some small talk. He goes his way. We go our way. Now, my wife could not wait. She posted that picture on social media even before we got on the plane, right? The entire plane ride over to France, she's talking about Morris Chestnut this, Morris Chestnut that, Morris Chestnut, right? So finally, we get to the hotel in France. We take a little nap because we've been traveling all day. We get up, we freshen up, the whole 9 yards. We're about to go out. My wife proceeds to make love to me with extreme enthusiasm. And then I asked myself, was it me or was it Morris Chestnut? Mic drop.
Oh,
You don't want to know the answer. You want to know.
Thank you, Charles. I'm at a loss for words, and that doesn't happen very often with your boy Mike. But I'm gonna leave it on that note. We're gonna wrap it up here, folks, because my boy threw me off, and he doesn't throw me off that often. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in to Just Be a Man podcast. We appreciate you listening. We welcome you to make comments, recommendations. I'm sure we might have forgot something to talk about, but please, put it in the comment and recommendation section. Also, don't forget to vote. It's very important that you don't forget to vote. We're not a political machine here, but we do believe in, people, to vote, to be able to have their opinion on certain things. You can't speak on it if you don't vote about it. And last but not least, you can follow us on your favorite social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're on Spreaker, Twitter, and YouTube. So please let us know what's going on. And once again, we thank you for joining Just Be a Man. Deuces.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Just Be a Man podcast. Be sure to check us out on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, where you can follow, like, subscribe, and comment at Just Be a Man 2020. We will love to receive your feedback. Also, if there is a topic you would like us to discuss, please leave your suggestion in the comments. Remember to tune in next Wednesday for more meaningful discussion. Until then, we wish you peace and blessings.